Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lifelong Learning Program, our second cohort. We had an amazing 6 weeks of learning, and then we took a break, which was awesome. I hope you guys are well rested. I hope you guys are ready to learn, are ready to fire on. I hope you did enjoy the break, but this next 6 weeks is going to be so fun. We have so much in store for you, and we hope you guys are ready to give it your all because it is going to be awesome. I want to see energy in the comment section. I mean, if you're excited, just type in I'm excited. Welcome, guys. I can see some familiar names already. Welcome back. Congratulations to everybody who participated, who got awarded. And guess what? At the end of this 6 week program, we are going to be having another award ceremony. So keep up your game. Just be at your top position. Make sure you complete all the assignments if you want to get your certificates at the end of the program. So please do the assignments. Please participate. Just be engaged in the classes. Also, you guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Subscribe to the channel so you can get updates, so you know what's going to be happening. Just to stay updated with Code Arena, apart from the emails that we continuously send. If you have any questions about the classes, about anything, you can send in your questions to forum.codearena.net. So you'll see that link in the comment section soon, forum.codearena.net, where weekly schedules will also be posted, where you can ask questions. So please take advantage of that. Then learning will continue on learn.codearena.net, even though the program is 6 weeks long. Even after the 6 weeks program, on learn.codearena.net, learning will continue. So once again, welcome back. I'm excited to be introducing you guys, to introduce the program to you guys, sorry. And I'm going to call someone up, someone who is super awesome. He is from UNESCO, so the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, under the United Nations, of course. His name is no other than Mr. Olushola Macaulay, who is the communications consultant for UNESCO, the regional office of UNESCO, actually. So it's awesome to have you here, Mr. Macaulay. Over to you. Do your thing. We're lovely to have you.
Thank you very much. I am the communication head and information for UNESCO Abuja. UNESCO Abuja has 8 countries under it. Kids, good afternoon or good morning, depending wherever you are at the moment. Let me just go straight to the 2 minutes time that I have. You all agree with me that information and communication technology has become an important aspect of human development. Either in the field of education or science or culture, there is no society this day that will develop without communication technology. You agree that with me? It has involved the redefining the role of the government itself and the governed, you and I. We have all heard about the Sustainable Development Goals. And I put it to you this morning or this afternoon, like I said, depending where you are. That there is no nation that can attain or achieve this SDG without giving serious attention to the ICT, that's information communication technology. It is in view of this that I plead with you this afternoon to take this opportunity, the advantage which you have, which other people don't have, as part of those who will be seen in contributing to the growth of Africa. UNESCO will continue to assist member states like your country or the government and promoting effective use of inclusive ICT in education for learners. Part of our initiative on this ICT is what we call Youth Mobile Initiative. The initiative is aimed to empower young ones like you with digital skill and equip your teachers with coding knowledge. We have collaborated in the past with government, stakeholders, like Code Arena, like SAP, to make sure that we enable young African people like you to acquire knowledge in coding and digital skill as part of our activity. I'm going to leave you at this junction with very competent instructors that will be taking you through this 2-3 months interactive session to make sure that you have a very memorable and life-changing experience Don't just take this as one of those activities that you see online, but take this serious. And like I said, I want to see you there. I want to make sure, I want to see that you're going to be one and part of those people that's going to change Africa in the very nearest future. Africa is yearning for people like you, for young ones like you, to make a difference, to make a change, especially when it comes to technology. I'm going to say once again, good afternoon. Enjoy every bit of this training. And at the end of the day, I will be part of you to say congratulations to some of you who may possibly have been able to win one or two gifts at the end of the day. I say once again, good afternoon, and do have a very wonderful period during this training. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Mr. Macaulay. We caught your hints of French at the end. For those of us who speak French, we are very grateful for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for the motivational words. I hope you guys have been inspired in such a short amount of time, because I definitely have been. We're going to have one more person before we go into today's session, an amazing person. For those of you who are interested in film, in media, in the communications industry, this is your man. He is no other than a producer, a CEO. He creates films, creates movies. He is the CEO of Channel Media One Network. Please give it up for Mr. Dennis Ejiogu. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me again. It's great to be here. All right, let me talk a bit about the film industry. The last time I spoke all through, I actually wanted to have a bit of feedback from people about their yearning, their desire, their ambition in the industry. But let me just go back a bit and talk about the need for us to have the proper tools. First and foremost, entertainment is going to be one of the key industries that will actually survive the recession, survive the technical revolution. People will always want to be entertained. So it's a business you can invest in and definitely going to get this feedback from. Now, it's a business as an industry that has to do with creativity. So creativity is something that sells. You're having the content is of much value. It might not be physical, but the content I'm referring to could be the fact that you have ideas, you have a storyline to tell. That is the content that you need to keep with you, and it's going to be very, very valuable looking at what's happening in the world today. A lot of things, resources are shifting, all industries, they're all facing challenges at the moment. But the entertainment industry, because it has to do with creativity that you can't touch, is something that is of much value. So I'm in that industry, and it's a place where we value process. Let me use the word process. If you want to join the industry, you have to realize that there's a process you go through. And that process involves having to understand how the industry runs, like I mentioned the other time. So you need to have a proper understanding of each aspect of the industry. Now, the essence of knowing about each aspect of the industry is that you'll be able to now say, okay, this is where I actually fit in. You might just be a script writer, and that's what you do. You just want to write scripts, and you have lovely scripts to give to people. You might be someone that is just consumed with camera angles. You look at angles and you're like, wow, what kind of which angle will be better for this kind of story? And that is where your expertise really is in. You might be someone that's into sound. You want to produce effect and the rest of them, and that is where your expertise, your potentials really lie in. And so you have different aspects of it. Choose one aspect and be the best of it. But when you choose any aspect, realize that the whole industry as a whole compared to other industries is going to excel. It's getting bigger. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that's going to expand. And looking at the pandemic, this COVID-19 issue, I believe the entertainment industry is one of those industries that will survive within a short period of time. So I don't know whether you have any questions or anything. Let's hear from you.
Guys, don't be shy. If you have any questions for Mr. Dennis, please put them in the comments section. I mean, he has a film academy, and just like he said, the film industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why don't you want to tap into that? So ask him any questions. Don't be shy. Okay, if nobody has any questions, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, I mean, why film? Like, why is that where you found your passion? How did you end up in that industry, and like what drew you into such an industry?
Growing up, I witnessed a lot of emotional stuff. I lost my mom. That was some years back, and I lost my dad as well. And I came to realize that life is about telling a story. And to me, when I tell the story through my movies, I'm actually reflecting what I've been through. I tend to question things about life. Maybe if you look at life from one perspective, I'm wondering what the other perspective is thinking of as well. We're going through a season where we're questioning everything, racism, religious issues, and the rest of them. And I'm trying to, as a storyteller, that's what I call myself. I look at telling the stories from 2 points of view, so as to enable people to see the other side of life. So you may be out there and you have a story to tell. Maybe you've witnessed domestic abuse, you've witnessed something happen to you that wasn't fair, you've witnessed racism, and you just want to tell the story. So the film production is where you can actually tell your story and let the people decide.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing, guys. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, there's a question for you, Mr. Dennis.
Okay, great. The question is that what is the challenge I face? I mean, big challenge. The big challenge coming from Africa really has to do with funds and having enough funds to compare your skill with those in the Western countries. And so for those of us in the developing countries like Nigeria, we tend to sort of have our own way of operation. We don't really cut down in terms of quality, but we have to understand that the terrain here is different from what you have in Hollywood. And so that's the big challenge we face. And so constantly, for example, we face the challenge of power. I mean, you're about to shoot somewhere and the power goes off. And then you have to now start thinking of where to get the generator, or you have to make provisions for such things. So these are the kind of challenges that we face. Okay, the second one says, how can someone be involved in the industry if the person has a passion for acting? Acting is a lovely thing. Acting has to do with expressing your emotions and the rest of them. You can be involved in it by looking at scripts. If you're part of the media house, ask them, do you have any scripts? And then looking at the roles, because not all roles are for you. Some roles are for some people that have gone through some things. Do you understand? As an actor, you should be able to carry that role along with you. So that's how you can get involved in that area. Another one says, how can we start an entertainment industry? Entertainment is a lovely industry, like I mentioned earlier. Now, in entertainment, you have comedy, you have film production, you have music, you have other things happening under entertainment. You can start by asking yourself, what is my passion? Do you understand? What is the story I like to tell? I keep referring to the word story. What is the story I like to tell? I've seen life from the funny side of things. I mean, maybe you've witnessed something that was very horrific to you, and you want to tell the story. Maybe you've witnessed something that is funny to you, and you want to tell the story. So that is how you can be part of it. Discover yourself, and then see how you can sell yourself to the rest of the people out there. The next one says, how to be a good actor. A good actor must be able to carry the roles properly. You must understand, if, for example, there's a film I'm working on at the moment about domestic violence, and you have this man who beats up his wife, and the woman beats up her husband. So there are two couples going through issues. The man, when he gets beaten up by his wife, he feels so insecure. He doesn't know how to tell his friends, hey, my wife really gave me a good beating this morning. And so we have to look for an actor that could understand, that empathizes with such a person, if that was the case. So we were able to choose someone that had the feelings, that probably had some kind of experience in that area. And the guy was able to carry it out well. And he showed the fear in his face when his wife was beating him and the rest of them. So that is how to be a good actor. Learn to understand the character, understand how the character thinks, and then be able to carry it out. You're welcome. Thank you so much as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis. Thank you for answering all those questions. Thank you guys for asking your questions. Thank you for answering my question also. It's been lovely to have you. It's been lovely to be motivated by you. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
coming.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me over.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So, who enjoyed having Mr. Dennis and Mr. McCauley? If you did, just say so in the comment section. Before we get into today's meet, before we get into the juice of today, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit this, why haven't you? Why haven't you subscribed to Codarina yet? So please do. Now if possibly. For those of you who didn't have your questions answered, don't worry. You can always put your questions on forum.codarina.net. Remember, I said that at the start. Now let's get into it. Today, for the first to start up our lifelong learning program again, we're having our first session on emotional intelligence. Now, it sounds like something that doesn't seem important, but do you know emotional intelligence is such a huge part of our lives? I mean, emotional intelligence is what makes good leaders, who is what makes good people persons. It's what makes you, able to take control of yourself, basically. There's this thing called emotional quotient. If you don't know what that is, I suggest you Google it. To handle our session on emotional intelligence, for those of us who have been going through tough times during this COVID-19 period, because I mean, all of us have, a lot of things have gone wrong. Emotional intelligence is important. So just keep your feelings in check and take control of yourself because it's important. I'd like to bring up a beautiful lady in the person of Brienze Lawrence. She's going to be handling our emotional intelligence sessions. Please, if you have clapping emojis, if you can give her a round of applause in the comment section. She's coming up right now to teach us a little bit more about emotional intelligence. Welcome, Brienze.
Everyone. Hello, hi, Vitri. Thanks so much for the introduction.
No
Hi,
problem.
everyone. How are we doing? How are we doing? How was our week? What have we been doing all week? Who had made us angry? Who had made us happy? And how have we reacted to it? Does anybody here have any clue or any knowledge on emotional intelligence? Do we have anyone here? Hi guys, this have to be an interactive class, an interactive section, so that we can all be carried along and learn something today. So I'm going to be taking you guys for the next 6 weeks on this journey. We would start today with understanding what emotional intelligence is, and then as we go further, week 2 we would now start to go into the details bit by bit, and then by the end of the 6 weeks you would have not only know what emotional intelligence is, but you would have learned the skills to be able to develop your own emotional intelligence, first understand it and then also develop it. So I am going to go right straight to it. Okay, Anthony said he knows what emotional intelligence is. Do you want to tell us, Anthony? Tell us what you think emotional intelligence is. Okay, guys. So I'm going to share my screen here and then we go into it. Great stuff. Share the screen. Now. So, guys, what is emotional intelligence? And how do we develop our emotional intelligence? Just to give you a bit of background of who I am, my name is Brienze Lawrence. I am the founder of Youth Care Global. At Youth Care Global, we are dedicated to providing a safe haven for young persons where we focus on their skills development in the area of psychosocial and emotional intelligence. We're working in partnership with Codarina Education and Technology Foundation. Personally, I'm coming from a project management background, and this has allowed me to look beyond the obvious and create high energy and engaging life skills programs to put even the most nervous of young persons at ease. I'm specialized in identifying opportunity where others see problem, and I help create solutions and equipping people with the life skills, tools, and confidence needed to implement the solution, and most importantly, self-value. So it's, for me, it is very, very important to know your worth as a person. It's very, very important to know your value. And by going through this journey of developing your emotional intelligence, this would be able to guide you to understand all of this. So, emotional intelligence. I asked a few seconds ago, what is emotional intelligence? In your opinion, what do you think it is? Well, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of the people around you. How well do you manage your emotions? How many emotions are there? So before we go into developing your emotional intelligence, it is very, very important to understand what emotion is in the first place. Emotion is, a strong feeling driving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship between others. Now that we know how many emotions are out there are tons and tons and tons of emotions out there, tons of emotions, but we are going to focus on the 8 basic emotions today. One of them would be the joy. What makes you happy? When you're happy, how does it make you feel? It's an emotion. It's something happens and it triggers something, and then you're happy. There's that sense of joy. And then trust. Are you one that could close your eyes when someone tells you close your eyes and fall and catch you? Would you close your eyes and fall? How well do you trust people? And if you don't trust people, it's okay. Why don't you trust people? So start to ask yourself those questions, because these are the basic emotions that we have. Fear. What gets you scared? What are you afraid of? What's that one thing that you fear the most in your life? Let's share it. For me, my fear would be not being able to wake up in the morning and do the things I love, which is affecting other people's life positively. When I lose that, then I would really, really I wouldn't be Brinzy yet. So I'm terrified of losing being able to be part of other people's success story, being able to build other people. Surprises. What gets you surprised? It's different for everybody. It could just be someone doing something that you least expected and you really liked, or it could be something, what gets you surprised? Sadness. What makes you sad? With the COVID and I think going on, how does that affect you? Does it make you sad? Have you lost your job? And based on that, are you sad now? Are you worried about someone? And had that made you, really sad? What are the things that you don't like that are just disgusting to you? Again, that's a basic emotion. We all love, we all trust, we all fear, we all have surprises, we all have sadness every now and again, we all feel disgusted, we all feel anger. Something comes up and you are so upset and then you lash out. What gets you to that point where you are really angry? And then anticipation. Okay, what are you in the recent times? What have you been anticipating? What is that thing that you've been hoping that would happen, that you're patiently waiting for, but you're really like, when is this going to happen? So now that we've looked into the 8 basics emotions, we're going to dig right into emotional intelligence. So for the duration of this course, for the next 6 weeks, starting from today, we are going to be looking at the 5 elements of emotional intelligence, because there is this 5 elements that builds up, that comes together. These are the 5 areas that we're going to help you. I'm going to help you develop over the next 6 weeks to make you to advance your emotional intelligence, or to even develop it, or to first know what it is and then develop it and work on yourself. And then again, it's a lifelong learning skills that you need to know. You have to constantly develop it, but over the course of this next 6 weeks, you would have the basic, you would have the foundation that you would be able to build on going forward. So when we look at the 5 elements of emotional intelligence, today I'm just going to be introducing each of them to you, just to give you an idea of what they are. And then, so not once we've gone through all of that, you would not be able to go home and start to, process them and start to prepare for next week, where we get into them individually in details. So we'll start with self-awareness. what is self-awareness? Does anybody knows what self-awareness is? Do we know? You know, does any of us know what self-awareness is? If you know what it is, drop it on the on the comment section there. So being self-aware means knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. It means behaving with humility. It's straightforward. It's your ability to accurately recognize one's emotions and thoughts and their influences on behavior. So it's just knowing yourself. It's understanding who you are as a person. And it's okay not to know as out of this minute, because over the course of the next 6 weeks, you would not know what it means to be self-aware. You would first of all know whether or not you are even self-aware. If you are, how do you develop it and be better? If you are not self-aware, how do we get you to a point where you begin to understand your surrounding and the things that are happening around you, what you do, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how to fully develop them and use your weaknesses to your advantage as much as you are using your strength to your advantages. So self-regulation. Again, once we are not self-aware, in order to self-regulate, you have to be self-aware. Once you not know, you are aware of your surrounding, you are aware of how your behavior affects other people, you're aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, you are aware of how you react first in class or with your peers or in school, with your mates at home, with your siblings and your family. Once you know that, we cannot begin to learn how to monitor and manage, your energy state, your emotions, how you deal with people, how you interact with people, your well-being, how you build a loving relationship with your family, with your friends, and how you, most importantly, how you are able to regulate yourself emotionally and grow as a person. And once you start to apply some of the skills that we're going to be training you on in the next 6 weeks, you would see how you become a better version of you. When we move from that, we would not have to develop how we can motivate ourselves. Now you're not self-aware, you are self-regulated, you know yourself very well now, you know other people, you know how people react. You may not know how people react, how people act, but you know how to react to it, because when you are self-aware, you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. You also understand other people. You're beginning to understand that, okay, it's okay for people to act the way they are acting. It's my responsibility to choose how to react to it. Some of the skills that we'll be training you on will help you to know that. And then, everybody needs motivation. We all need to be picked up. Like this morning, I had to tell myself whether I want to or not. I'm having this class because there are people counting on me to have this class. So regardless of how I was feeling this morning, I got up and I dragged my feet because I went to bed really late last night. But I dragged my feet. I got up. I said, I have to be ready. I have to be here. Now that's motivation. Ordinarily, I would have preferred to lie in bed. It's a Saturday. I should, just maybe read a book or something, or even sleep through it. But I didn't do that. Instead, I'm like, you know what? Get up and do this. So by telling myself to get up and do that, I have motivated myself. I didn't have anybody that was going to do that for me. I had to get up and do it. So it's because I have learned on how to get up and move no matter what. I always tell people, if you cannot run, jog. You cannot jog, walk. You cannot walk, crawl. You can't crawl. Just keep moving. Don't stop. Have a reason to wake up in the morning. Once you have a reason to wake up in the morning, whatever that reason is, it might just be as tiny as, I'm going to achieve something every single day. That's you motivating yourself. Whatever that is, if it is just telling someone, just making someone else feel good, it might just be as simple as saying, oh, your hair is beautiful, by the way. It might just be as simple as, oh, let me help you go through your homework, or, oh, let's do our homework together, or, oh, I understand that subject. Do you want me to help out? Whatever it is, once you can tell yourself every day that I want to wake up and do something every day, that is you technically motivating yourself. And by motivating yourself to do something every day, you're technically motivating other people to do stuff. But over the course of the week, over the course of this program, I'll be able to walk through it with you and work out how you can develop how to self motivate in order for you to also motivate other people. And then we will look at empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. We would go into details. We will look at how to first of all understand empathy. Empathy is not sympathy. They are two different things. Empathizing with someone and sympathizing with someone is two different things. So we would learn this. We would understand the difference between them, and then now learn how to apply it. Learn how to be good to other people without necessarily shooting ourselves on the foot. Empathizing without putting yourself in a compromising situation. So that there is a win-win as you develop and apply all of these trainings that you'll be getting over the course of the next 6 weeks. So, social skills. Once we now know we are, self-aware now, we are self-regulated, we are motivated, and we can motivate other people. We now have empathy towards other people because we have learned how to know ourselves. We have learned how to love ourselves. We have learned how to develop ourselves, how to be self-efficient, how to collaborate with other people, how to, care about other people. The next natural step is now how to reach out. Okay, we've learned all of these things. We're good now. We are a whole person who's still developing ourselves, but we are at a level now that we can interact and engage with other people. Then you will need social skills, not just to interact, but to collaborate, but to work with other people, to be a team player, to work in group, to study together, grow together, work in businesses together, and all of that. You would not learn that. That's the fifth among the 5 key elements. Once you have all of these and you've developed them and you're practicing them, you are now very much emotionally you are now emotionally intelligent. You are now at a point now where you've developed to you would have then be developed to a level where you can understand why people react the way they react, why they do what they do, and how to help people be better. So our goal for the week, because we're starting to get into the different elements in these 5 elements next week, same time. So our goal would be to prepare for next week. Okay. So I would encourage us to get a journal for the week. So get a diary, a little journal, a little book, a handbook, something that fits into your pocket or your backpack, something that is always close to you. Just have it. For those of us that use phone, okay, it's fine to use phone, but I always encourage people to have a journal because there is this level of you writing things down, it kind of hits you. But then again, if you're easier on your phone, if you're techie, then that's fantastic. But just keep a journal. Have a notepad or have a page on your computer or your smartphone where it is a journal. Spend 10 to 20 minutes each day writing down your thoughts. Now, whatever happens during the day, was I happy today? Were you happy? What was that one thing that made you happy during the day? What made you sad during the day? Did you get any surprises? Did you? What are you looking forward to? So for next week, I would like us to have done this because when we come next week, we would have to discuss this. We would have to discuss what made us happy during the week, or if it's a particular day in the week. It's okay if nothing made you happy, but be conscious of that little thing that puts smile in your face. Write it down. There's nothing silly. Everything is what it is. It's just because when you start to do this, what you are automatically doing is you are becoming self-aware. so that by next week when we're discussing self-awareness, you already have some level of it. You're already aware of your environment and those who are around you. So when in all of this, if you for any reason you experience any sort of anger within the week or strong emotions, or, someone did something that you really didn't like, it's okay. Whatever way you react to it, it's okay. Or just write it down. Write it on your journal so that by next week we would go through it and see why you reacted the way you react and begin to learn how to, narrow your reaction towards a positive way of reacting to things. But what I'll leave you with today is remember, no matter what the situation is, you can always choose how you react to it. So no matter what happens, no matter anybody, whatever anybody does, it is your responsibility to be able to choose how you react to it. So we'll get back to questions. I'm sure that there are loads of questions that I have to answer. Before that, I'll tell you what we're doing next week. Next week we are doing self-awareness. Self-awareness again is the ability to it's all about recognizing and understanding how you own your emotions, both that affects you, your interaction with people, and how it affects other people or other people's emotional state. So we would be digging into that. We will be going through it. We'll be learning all that there is to learn about, being self-aware. And I'm sure that by the time we'll learn all of that, the week after that will be a lot, nicer and all that. So I am open to taking questions now. So if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay, what if someone sees what you write and make fun of you? Okay, so your journal is your personal journal. And when you go through this journey, it's your journey. It's not anybody else's journey. I cannot promise you that, hey, nobody's gonna see it. So what if someone sees it and make fun of it? The difference between you and the person that it's going to make fun of you is you were bold enough to express yourself. You were bold enough to want to take the step to learn how to develop yourself. You were bold enough to want to be, self-aware. And with time, you begin to see how this thing help. You've seen people. Show me anybody who is successful who had not made a blunder of themselves. Tell me anyone who was successful who had not made a fool of themselves at one point or the other. And keeping a journal is not you making fool of yourself. I keep journal. I write my thoughts. Like I have been doing this for so many years that when I go back now and look at the things I wrote years ago, I'm really excited that I wrote them. I am happy that that I did that, and it just helps you, because when you look back to all of these things that you might write, you would be able to go back in time in the next, even when you start now, 6 weeks from today, when you finish, you'll be able to go back to that journal and go, oh, this was where I was 6 weeks ago. I've actually grown now. So it helps you to keep track of your development. So, James, if you said if you get your emotions gone wild, like get angry, could you reverse your actions once you've gotten angry? So, what I do when someone do stuff or when situation happens that I am really upset about, I pull away from the situation. Sometimes I just say I need a minute. Sometimes I walk away. Sometimes I try to I call my name in my mind and say, Branzi, that's their action. You own your reaction. You have the choice to choose how to react to it. I know that this happens, with many years of developing my emotional intelligence and all that. But what you can do now, when something happens and you can't control it, Jen, it's okay. Whatever way you react, the most important thing is after you've reacted is acknowledging the fact, knowing that I have reacted this way. Your journal that you're keeping would help you now to write down, because now you're able to pour out or write down why you reacted the way you reacted and how you should have reacted. So, which means that going forward, you would be able, if similar situation happens, because you've done your evaluation, you'll be able to react differently. Okay, and Bisola, how do you stop yourself before you get mad? It takes a lot of training. For me, it's I am not going to get mad. So I know that most times when people act, it's not all the time, but sometimes when people act, when people do things, is to stir up a reaction. Okay? So I don't like being predicted, especially when it comes to, oh, I know she's going to get mad. That's when I don't get mad. So if you can begin to tell yourself, okay, maybe this was done to stir up a reaction, let me give an opposite reaction of what it would have been. That can actually help you to slow. And then sometimes just don't react. There are times where I don't react. I'll give you an example. An example is in the recent times, I've had a really difficult situation where I lost someone really very close to me, and then I'd had to undergo surgery. But in all of that, I still had empathy towards someone that I had just met, and I realized that the person was close to me, but I had never met this person before now. And I made a decision that I was going to support that person in what they do. While I was in the hospital, in the sick bed, I actually began to support this person, and I wanted to do something really amazing for the person. And I started investing into what I wanted to do for the person financially and all of that. In the middle of it, the person had not done something that really put me in a place where I'm like, why am I even doing this? I need all the support that I can get right now, but I'm trying to help someone, and it's as if the person is not understanding that that's where I'm at. So the first natural step for me was just to pull away from it and say, okay, well, that's it. I'm done. Adios, sayonara. But then I put myself back and I'm like, if I don't finish this that I have started, how does it affect this person? Of course, it affects the person negatively. The person's action, why would I allow it stir up a reaction? The person may have thought that, oh, she's gonna get really mad. No, you know what I did? Was I upset? Yes, I was upset about it. Did I scream in my bathroom? And yes, I did. But I also told myself, Brinzy, you need to calm down and you need to react the way that they least expect that you will react to this, which is me not calling the person and saying, this that had happened, I'm not like, I would have hoped that it happened differently, because I don't live with expectation. I would have hoped that it happened differently. But now that it has happened this way, going forward, this is how I want to, deal with it. And that really helped. And the person understood, because I didn't react in anger. I went through my own emotions by myself. And when I was calm enough, I engaged the person and communicated with the person. The person actually, understood where I was coming from. And the person did say to me that, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from. I would have been upset if someone did that to me, So it's being able to manage certain situation that ordinarily would escalate. But if you had, so let's assume I'd gotten mad and I had screamed at her and I've done all sorts to her. My ability to be able to come back again and then find a way to reach out to her and say, well, I'm really sorry I reacted this way, again, makes me a better person. How do I react when I'm kind people and it's not being appreciated? Oh yeah. That is my life, okay? That is my life, Bobby. See, what I'll tell you is what I do, is how I live my life. This will help you. I live my life with, I will love you, I'll care for you, I'll be there for you, I'll empathize with you, I will stick out for you with zero expectation. So because I don't expect you to appreciate it in the first place or not appreciate it, then I don't get disappointed. So it's when you build up for something. I always tell people, when you want to be kind to people, when you want to help people, the biggest question you should ask yourself is, why am I being kind to people? Am I being kind to this person because I'm expecting a reaction, or it's because that's who I am? You need to, by the time you become self-aware, you would know who you are. So for me, I feel good when I help people. I feel like I like it when I make people better. I like it when I develop people. So when I'm doing these things, I don't expect anything because it makes me feel good that I'm helping someone grow. And I don't even have to talk about it. It's not my second nature. I'm a fixer. I just want to fix people. So what happened then is whether or not that person appreciated or whether or not the person comes back and insult me, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't really bother me because when I'm being kind to that person, I'm being kind because that's who I am. Because that's part of me. That's me. So Bobby, what you do is no, start to tell yourself every day. First of all, find out why you're kind to people. If it is who you are as a person, don't change that. Be kind to people because what happens is that person might be mean to you, but I'll tell you this, when you do good for people, say you helped 10 people, you were kind to 10 people, you told 10 people that they were beautiful or something as, oh, your hair was nice or whatever. After a while, one of those 10 people would appreciate what you've done. They may not necessarily do it back for you, but they would be able to touch other people's life. Now, that for me is where I feel, oh yeah, I've done something amazing. It's being able to be kind to people and hope that it would influence them being kind to others, not necessarily you. Okay, if you have control and you bottle up your anger deep inside you, how do you stop yourself from releasing that anger when it gets too much? Okay, so Bob, for me, I wouldn't say bottle angers in. I would say discuss it. So your reaction, how you react. So if things are making you angry, because while humans, we have these basic emotions, we have the right to fear, we have the right to be angry, we have the right to do all of these things. So if something is happening, a situation constantly happen, and you're getting angry at all time, don't bottle it in. No, find a better way, which is what you learn in the next 6 weeks, how to communicate it. You see, communication is key. You have to be able to communicate how you feel to the next person or how the next person makes you feel. So if you are angry, instead of bottling it up and then because when you keep bottling something up, eventually it's going to explode, and that's just life. So no, you don't bottle it up. You don't keep it. You find a way. You get to a point where you have to, discuss it. You tell the person. So my advice would be, don't lash out in that moment where you're angry. Take a step back and analyze why you're angry in the first place. Okay, this person has done this now and this is why I'm sad, but why did this person do this? Was it because I did the other? Sometimes when we're angry, by the time you pull it back, you tear it back, you ask yourself all the necessary questions, you will find your answer within those series of questions that you've asked yourself, that you won't even need to now go back to even ask that person. But if it is a situation where, yes, someone was flat out really mean or really bad to you, yeah, it's okay to communicate it. It's how you now communicate it that matters as well. It's how you now, call the person and say, okay, I really want to talk about this. This is what has happened. And this is how, without actually blaming the person, it's talking to the person so the person can understand where you're coming from, and also give that person an opportunity to tell you their side of the story, because there's always a two sides to a coin. I might be looking at a situation from my position that, oh, this did happen and this is how it affects me. But what about the next person? How that next person does not process information the way you process it. So it is very possible that that person had reacted or acted the way they acted based on how they were feeling in that moment as well. So it is always good to communicate. It is always good to talk things through. Don't bottle your anger, but don't react immediately either. Take a step back, evaluate why you are angry in the first place so that you have a clearer perspective of what's really going on. So when you're communicating it to the next person who you need to communicate it with, that they understand as well, so that you guys can, come to a resolution. Okay, Bobby, when you're angry, if tearing paper and sleeping help you, that's okay. But over the course of the 6 weeks, we would also find other ways that we can, move from tearing papers and sleeping to actually dealing with those emotions, because it's by dealing with them that you become emotionally intelligent. Okay, let's see. Any other question? Okay. Okay, so Evelyn, showing your pain and blaming it on others. Again, in the next 6 weeks, we would work on how not to blame it on other. You can show your pain. It's okay. You can talk about it. You can, so that you are able to deal with it and move past it, but not necessarily blaming it on others. Because when you blame it on others, it means that you're never going to take responsibilities of the actions that may have led to you having to experience those pain. So it is very vital that sometimes in life we have to take responsibility, and being self-aware and self-regulated is going to help you understand and develop how you can begin to take responsibilities for some of your actions and how to deal with your emotions so that you don't necessarily have to blame it on other people. Titi Lokwe, how do you control yourself when people insult you? Titi Lokwe, for me, is I know myself. So first, before it even get to people insulting us, over the course of the 6 weeks, we will learn how to even avoid situations like this. Sometimes it's even best that you don't put yourself in situations where people have to insult you. I can't remember the last time I was insulted, because I don't put myself in spaces where I have to be insulted, because I conduct myself well, that I don't now end up in situations where I'm being insulted. But if you do end up in situations where you are being insulted, because you can't help other people's actions, but you can control how you react to it. So if someone comes to you, or I, Brandy, I'm going, still look, but this is wrong with you, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're the other, and I'm screaming and I'm insulting you, and you are not saying anything, I'm gonna look like a lunatic after a while. So that's where you control how you react, your reaction to things. So if people, it's their opinion, it's their choice. They made a choice to insult you. You can make a better choice to be kind to them while they're insulting you. And what that automatically does, it also triggers a different reaction in them. It gets them thinking, oh, I'm mean to this person and this person is being nice to me. Can I not just be a nice person too? Sometimes we rub off most times we rub off from people. Okay, so Anthony, sometimes when you're angry, you just keep quiet because what you say might maybe hurt people and all that. Oh, Temi Talkway, I'm so sorry. It's Temi Talkway, not Titi Lofe. Sorry, Temi Talkway. Anthony, when you're angry, you keep quiet because what you might say might have, okay. I mean, that's a good coping mechanism. It's okay to, when you're angry, you keep quiet. It's actually a good one. It's strong that you keep quiet, but don't keep quiet for too long. So when you keep quiet, process why you are angry, and then know that at some point you have to communicate that, and don't leave it too long, because when you constantly keep quiet, you might just end up being that one kid in the corner that everybody walk on, or that one person in the corner that everybody walk on. You're all over. You have to be able to stand up for yourself, but not in an aggressive way, but in a position of, I know who I am. I'm angry because this has happened, and I want to understand why you have done this. It's good. It's very good that you can be quiet when you're angry. At least it gives you time to process. But after process, don't just keep quiet and let it go. No, keep quiet, process it, and then deal with it. Talk about it. Okay, let's take a few more questions. We are almost done. No, you don't have to make someone feel stupid. Adebola, sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name properly. Adebola, you don't have to make someone feel stupid if they are feeling proud. What it is they have self-confidence. So what you need to now do is to make sure that their proudness doesn't intimidate you. So it's all about you. It's all about how you project yourself and how other people's actions affect you, how you react to them. So if someone is full of themselves and they're proud of themselves, maybe they are good. That's why they're proud of themselves. Maybe they are not. What you do is how you don't let their proudness affect you. So if their being proud does not directly have any negative influence or it doesn't affect you negatively, that's who they are, that's them. You can build who you are as well, so for me it wouldn't be, I really, for me it's really not how people act, it's more of how I react to it. So it will be, again, that person is proud, okay, they're proud, it's who they are. You're not proud, you're a nice person. Their proudness doesn't intimidate you. That's the key. What you learn is how to make sure that their proudness, their being proud, does not intimidate you as a person, or you are not trying to prove a point, because you're not in competition. In this life, we are not in competition with anyone. My role model is me 10 years from today. So I'm constantly playing catch up because everybody else is taken. So your role model, outside all the people that influence you, that do positive things, you can look at people and say, okay, I want to be better than this person in the next 10 years. Well, set a goal, sit down, think about you as a person and what you really want from life. Look at the people, let other people inspire you, mentor you, but your role model, who you are aspiring to be, should be the better version of you in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years. And then you're constantly playing catch up to that. By so doing, you're not in competition with anybody else. You're just growing yourself. That's what I do, and it works for me. And I understand that there are times where things are good, there are times where they are not good, but the goals are there, and I'm constantly, so because I am my own I'm my own superhuman in the next 10 years, I'm constantly playing catch up to what I want to be in the next 5 years, and I'm growing and I'm building it. I don't get intimidated when proud people are around me. I don't even see it, because that's who they are, and who I am is who I am. Okay. Let's see more questions. Yeah. Never get angry in the boarding school. Okay, Bobby. Bobby said you guys shouldn't get angry in the boarding school, but I'd say if you do get angry, try and find out why you're angry, because we are supposed to feel as people. You should be able to feel things. You should be able to feel this, at least the 8 basic emotions. You should be able to feel it. Feeling them, it's good. Understanding them is better, and knowing how to control them and manage them and develop them, it's even more amazing. Okay, where is your question? I'm looking for your question. If you can send it back again, Arad, that would be good. I can't see it, but I'll just scroll through again and see. I've never had. Hey, exposition of anyone. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so I see, Arad, is this question? What if you are angry but you are at fault? Like now when my mom corrected me about changing my devices and she can't. Okay, good. So Arad, it's the fact that you even understand that you're at fault is a huge step. People don't admit that. So when you are angry, something made you angry, but you know deep down that you're at fault, is the first step, the very first step to becoming emotional intelligent, because you are aware that you are at fault. So what you do in that situation is take a back step, understand why you got angry. Yes, I'm at fault, but I'm angry. There is something that triggered it. There is a reason why you got angry. When you identify that reason why you got angry, talk about it. So what I would do with you, what if I were you, Aaron, I would first of all apologize to mom, because you said clearly now that you're at fault. So speak to your mom, apologize to her, that let her understand you're at fault, but then find a better way to also present your case as to what you want. You know what I mean? That way she would understand that you're growing and you're developing. At least you are owning up to you are owning up to things that you're at fault at. It's very beautiful. I'm sure she would be delighted if you could actually pick up your phone, or if she's at home with you now, if you could tell her mom, okay, that happened, I'm at fault, but come to can we come to a common ground? Can we meet each other halfway? And if it does make sense, then she would also understand with you. That's where communication comes in. And know that most times when our parents do what they do, it's from a good intention. It's because they want the best for us. We also have to understand that when the era that they grew up in, they probably didn't have computers, they probably didn't have WhatsApp, they probably didn't have Facebook, and we have all of these things. We can see the world. So in as much as our parents are intelligent, but because of this time that we're growing in, we might know a lot of things more than they do. So it is very vital to understand that when sometimes your parents are saying no to you in relation to something, it's not because they don't care about you. It's because they want the best for you, and maybe they don't understand that what you're trying to do is actually good, because you're from two different generations. So it is good to communicate with them. So excuse me. So most times I will start engaging my parents when I want something or I need them to do something for me. I would engage them from explaining what that thing is first, trying to get what their general knowledge about what it is. Because once they understand what you're asking of them, it might be easier for them to make a better decision as to whether or not to allow you or not. So we have to, as young people, we have to bear in mind that our parents are doing awesome job, because when they were being raised, most of them didn't have access to computer. There were no mobile phones. Maybe they were just coming out. They just had the landline at home and all of that. So we have to understand this. Even our teachers that are teaching us, we also have to understand that when they were in school, when they were training to become teachers, that all of these assets that we have, like our iPad and our laptops and all that, they probably didn't have access to this. They didn't have access to any of this. The way they taught them, the way they were developed, or the way they had been raised, is completely different from the way we are being raised today. So when especially older people, when older people are telling you things that that this is not right, but they think it is right, instead of being angry, instead of being frustrated, find a way to let them see it from your perspective. It might just be looking for articles and sending those articles to them prior to you asking, or prior to you engaging in that conversation with them. At least that give them the basic knowledge of what it is you're about to hit them with, that when you hit them with it, they kind of understand it. And their response might be a lot softer and easier. Hope that answers your question. That was of any help to you, Aaron. I asked if emotional. If Okay, Dami, I asked if emotion follows actions and reaction law of nature, cycle of law. So for me, it is everybody have a choice. That mean it is, yes, of course, we are emotional being, and when someone acts, you are inclined to react. Developing your emotional intelligence not help you. It helps you to guide yourself on how to react to things. Sometimes it's not what's said, it's how it is said. It's when it is said. It helps you to identify the right pegs and how to put them in the right holes, putting a square peg on the square hole and all that. So it is, once you understand and you've developed your emotional intelligence, you would not be able to know that some actions, yeah, other people might react this way, but there are better ways to react. And then again, your actions equals your reactions, and the law of nature and all that. They exist, they are there, but it's how you develop yourself, and that is how you apply it. That's what matters, and that's what you're going to develop over the next 6 weeks. Okay, any more question? Yes, Evelyn, being angry is completely different from standing up for yourself. Standing up for yourself is looking at a situation and going, no, this can be better. But before you do that, you have to understand why the situation is where it is, what led to it. So once you understand all of that, and once you're self-aware, once you know your strengths and your weaknesses and you're self-regulated, you would develop better ways to stand up for yourself. You would develop ways to stand up for yourself that it doesn't necessarily reflect negatively on other people, because then you would have empathy while you're standing up for yourself. You would also have empathies towards others, and then there is a balance of, okay, I'm standing up for myself, but I also understand that there are other people here, and I am managing how I'm helping to make sure that my action doesn't affect them negatively, and my action doesn't affect me negatively either. If your relative is annoying you, do you have to tell them or walk out on them? I'm trying to keep a nice profile. Okay, so when your relative is the key thing is we can choose our friends, but we can never choose our family. And you're in the family that you're in for a reason. You were designed, you were created to be in that family. So you're related by blood. And the simple thing that I know is, because I'm related to my family by blood, I just love them no matter what. Families are families. You can't flip them. Of course, there are some people, that some family members or some relative that are difficult. Is now managing how you deal with them, not necessarily working out on them. It's understanding that this is who they are, that's how they talk, they can be annoying, but because I know this is who they are not going anywhere anytime soon, because they're family. So I have to find a way to cope, which is just understand that that's how they are. You just don't expect anything, out of like, don't expect them to always make you happy. Don't expect them to always do the right things or do right by you. But teach yourself how not to react negatively to what they do. If they're annoying you and you think it makes sense to walk away from the room in that minute in order not to create problems for you and them, that's okay. But always try to identify why they are annoying you. What exactly are they doing that annoys you, and how what makes them do that as well? And sometimes communicate with them. Sometimes people might be doing things and you don't even know that it is annoying, but you just they don't know it's annoying you. They are just doing it. If you don't tell them, they are not going to know. So I would communicate in order to know. So guys, that would be it. I think I've answered all the questions that there is. All right, guys. So if there is no other question, thank you so, so much, guys. I appreciate your time. I love that this was interactive. I'll meet you here same time next week, and we would be developing our self-awareness. It's going to be in science, so bring your notepad, do all the things that you were meant to do, keep a journal, write down the things that made you happy for the rest of the week, the things that made you sad, and the things that you want to improve in. Come with it next week, and we would now begin to develop. From next week, we would be having assignments that we would have to take home with us in order for us to better develop ourselves. So thank you once again. My name is Brinsley Lawrence, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, I'm back on. Thank you so much, Miss Beyonce. It's been awesome. I learned a few things. I mean, I feel like I might take up journaling after listening to that session. You guys, please be around for next week's session on self-awareness. Thank you so much for answering all those questions in detail. I mean, she gave you detail and life experiences. You don't want to miss next week's session, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to Code Arena's YouTube channel to stay updated. We will send you emails, of course, but why not subscribe to YouTube? Because who doesn't want to subscribe? And finally, we were meant to have a cybersecurity class by 1 p.m., but it has been shifted, rescheduled due to a few complications. But don't worry, guys, by 3 p.m., we will be having another class on Scratch. So please do not miss it, okay? Please be there. It's going to be so fun. Remember that to get a certificate at the end of this program, you have to submit all your assignments. So if teachers do tell you to do things, please do them. Be diligent. There's no time to not be diligent. This is the 21st century, okay? So it's been so awesome having you, Esperanza. See you next week. Thank you
Bye.
for joining us. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye, guys.